sure that we were operating government as efficiently as is possible.
Okay.
You know, what would be the extent to which
What would be very simple is just, yes, that was a mistake to fire hundreds of people responsible for saving
Right.
America's nuclear stockpile. Take credit for fixing the mistake. Hundreds of National Weather Service employees fired, scrambling to rehire them. It's a mistake. I met Mr. Vogt, a gentleman in Georgia, about a month and a half ago, whose son is an astrophysicist, recently trained by an elite U.S. university. I mean, these are the folks that we really need serving the American people, who had just been hired by the federal government and was summarily terminated, not on the basis of any individualized determination about his performance, but simply because he was a probationary employee who is now working in Beijing. You guys are making mistakes, and I want to focus on the mistakes that you're making.
Meaning that our smartest people are leaving the country.
Yes.
And going over to other countries.
And that
to
means
work.
that they're taking our trade secrets with them.
Well, no, not our secrets, but just like what we want them to do for us.
Not only that, our processes. Yes, our trade secret, our processes. It goes to you when you go to your next employment.
Yeah. No, but this is just an astrophysicist. And he just recently got hired there.
I asked you whether
And now he's working in Beijing.
tried to fire a quarter of the CDC.
Lost him. You know what I mean? Best and brightest.
Nearly a quarter of the CDC workforce.
Why? Because he's Asian?
For FY26 would cut.
Well, I don't know if he's Asian or not.
Okay.
He just said he was talking to a father. So
Yeah.
It could be anything.
Yeah.
He could
Okay.
be anything.
Now, I'm going to assume that maybe he might be Chinese, going to Beijing, but
Yeah.
at the same time, maybe not either.
Yeah.
I was like, most Chinese people want their kids to be they want them to be doctors, mostly.
We'll make that happen.
Well-
Destroying this institution. And whatever criticism you have about their past performance, they are essential to public health and epidemiological defense in the United States. You're crushing morale, you're crushing capability, and you're destroying my constituents' lives. And I am grateful for the commitment you've made to come to Georgia and visit the CDC and sit down with those employees. Thank you.
The Biden administration.
I don't want to hear about the Biden administration. You're here on behalf of the Trump administration.
Exactly.
The witness is allowed to answer the question.
John Ossoff does not play games. Senator Ossoff does not play games. That Jewish man do not play games. He's good.
So that was like basically briefly on the Georgia CDC. So now,
Well, yeah, because he represents Georgia.
yeah. So now the new Georgia law starting July 1st. So far, these are some heavy hitters. Take some time to read them. Okay. You pay an application fee and get denied to live in that apartment. You get your money back. They can't charge any more than 2 months rent either. I think that's great. When you fill out an application and you pay a application fee, if you are not approved, I do believe you should get your application fee back. I feel like it's like a deposit on a place and not giving you here. Because I'm not getting anything out of it. You can't charge me for a piece of paper.
No, I honestly, when I like apartments that I've done in the past, and the thing about it is, an application fee is nothing. It's not legally binding. It's nothing. And the thing about it is, not a lot of people know that.
Yeah.
So every time I've gone to an apartment to put in an application fee, I'm not putting in an application fee. You're not getting that money. I'm not paying for your lunch.
No.
And that's basically what it is.
I get you, but depending on certain people where they want to live, they might willing to go ahead and pay that in hopes to get it. It's no problem. Just like if my hairdresser says, give me a deposit. I don't have no problem with the deposit because I know I'm getting my hair done.
Right.
But I have a problem with giving a deposit and I'm not getting anything returned and you're just keeping my money. And money is not frivolous.
It's not.
And how many deposits do you get to keep and just keep denying people?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, but the application, but the application fee is predatory as fuck.
Yeah.
I don't like. I've
I feel
never
like
paid an
it's once
application fee.
again America where everything is money and financial based, and that's just something else that's not needed and not necessary.
It's not necessary.
So I
Application
agree
fee is
with
not
that.
necessary at all.
3 months rent, or saying that you have to make 3 times the rent of certain places just to live here is ridiculous.
Yep.
For the simple fact that no one really makes that much. So you're basically, these type of things that are set in place are deterrents. And it seems like it's deterrence for certain individuals. And that's what I don't like.
Well, this is what is happening. Now it's like, it sounds like now they're addressing the issue. It was just like the issue. I was like, one, the housing issues. This will definitely help stop with a lot of housing issues. Just because Georgia is very well known for discriminatory practices of housing.
Yes. Yes.
So this really nips this in the bud.
Yeah.
Long time coming.
Yeah.
To be honest with you.
Yes, it is.
However, the way from what it sounds like is like you're taking away the application fee. You can't charge more than first and last.
Yes.
Which makes sense.
Which makes sense.
I've never paid more than first and last.
No, and I have no problem with it.
Yeah.
But saying that I have to also make 3 times the rent,
That makes no sense.
no, because anywhere I go,
That means
if I work, I have to pay for living. So
right. And what you're asking for basically is you're asking for what's you
mostly people to possibly make $75,000 to $100,000 a year.
No,
Which,
what they're also gonna but they're also gonna use that and then try to raise your rent at about after the first lease,
yeah.
or even after 6 months.
Yeah.
depending upon.
So I felt like all those practices were deterrents because you are basically saying that this apartment is not available for these individuals.
Yeah.
I'm not saying race, guys. I'm talking about income and financial stability. And unfortunately, it does weigh a lot on us. But yeah, it's a deterrent.
Yeah, I mean, it should be when it comes to apartments, townhomes, homes with like whatever you're renting. You know what I'm saying? It just should be based on. Look, I can prove to you I can prove to you how much I make in a year.
Yeah. I even agree with doing the background check as far as evictions. I would like to know, even though you make this money, if you can pay your bills. I have no problem with that. Background check, criminal background checks, I do somewhat have a problem with that because we already know how, unfortunately, the system is very biased when it comes to African Americans. So a lot of African Americans can have certain charges. So criminal backgrounds, depending on what it is. But yeah, as far as I have no problem with those type of backgrounds because I do want to see if you are able to pay your bills. You know, but certain things I felt like were deterrences. Legal deterrence for you not to rent to certain individuals. So I think that was a good thing to change. No more helium balloon releases. Illegal. So let me look this up. Like, does helium do something to the atmosphere?
Helium?
Yeah.
Everything does everything in the atmosphere. I assume helium does too.
I mean, they got that many that they're making a law.
I mean, probably. Because of the simple fact, it's like, look at our Earth. Our Earth is about to do a whole reset. And we may not have one in the next, 200, 250 years.
Oh, it does say. It says. Because, sometimes when we may not understand a certain law, it's a law for a reason. So I do like to kind of look it up. And it says, yes, helium balloons, especially when released, can be harmful to the environment. They pose a threat to wildlife, contribute to pollution and waste, and vulnerable for non-renewable resources.
Yep.
Yeah, so that makes sense. And y'all clearly doing a lot.
Yep. Now, the one thing in the bill, one thing they stopped, in this bill that they're trying to force through, is that the bill, they're not going to be able to do buy up any more of land.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be able to do any drilling.
Okay, so it's no what?
No,
in the States.
Correct. They're not going to be able to. They're not going to be like even outside of it. They're not going to be able to do it.
So the oil companies can't buy no more land.
Yep.
Cause that's what they do. They
Yeah.
buy the land and then they do
Yep.
what they want on their
yeah.
own
Democrats
property.
are like, oh yeah, you ain't buying shit.
And they do what they want on their own
And
property.
they ain't buying shit. And the Republicans, agree. Half the Republicans agree with them. They're like, no, we're not doing any more drilling. We're not doing any more of that because our Earth is fucked up. We can't.
Oh, we're tore up. You go over to Canada and it's better breathe here over there, and they're just like a cousin from us.
No.
We have been to Mexico, and I don't care what they
And the
telling
air
y'all.
was great.
I don't know what y'all is telling y'all. Mexico was great. It wasn't dirty. It wasn't none of that stuff. We was in the hood in the hoods.
Well, we was what?
And it wasn't that much gangbang crime, and I don't care what they would say. The streets were magnificent, clean, no issues. Like,
on that sidewalk.
yes,
What you mean?
we were
I
barefooted,
was like barefooted on that sidewalk. Stop it. It was great.
and we was Mexico City, all over Mexico, and the same thing.
Mexico
So
City was cool.
I don't care what
Mexico
they
City
are
was
telling
cool.
y'all.
Now,
Puerto Rico too. I don't care what they are telling y'all. Other places are not like us.
remember those? I was like, remember those when we were in Mexico City going to the airport?
Yeah.
Remember those? Remember those two cholas?
Yeah.
And that other, and it was like the other nigga in red. I was just like, bro, I want to go where they're going.
Yeah. Yeah. Puerto Rico too. Like you can kiss the ground they walk on.
Yep.
No shoes.
Yep.
Barefoot. How? No. So like I don't care what they are telling y'all about. That's because they want to keep us trapped. What as much money as we bring in and what we do for the states, they want to keep us trapped because if we loan the gag, nobody will wants to be here. And they need workers. They don't want equals. They want workers. But no, so that was crazy. So I do agree with that helium balloon release. Okay, you can take your cocktails to go from restaurants.
Cocktails to go.
Well, I think the reason probably it has been a law is because there's no drinking and driving. So, but the thing about that is, if you can go to the liquor store and buy wine and stuff and drive it home,
It's probably-
then
to be
you
honest
can
with
do
you,
the same thing because it's open.
They not only because it's open, but if you're doing a takeaway, whatever the case may be, now depending upon how it's probably going to have to be a certain way, so that the cops, when they see it, this person's like they're doing a takeaway.
Well, that's another thing. All you got to do if you're going to the restaurant and you're ordering takeout, I'm suggesting. I'm assuming that they're also talking about maybe also with takeout orders that they can get cocktails to go, because you know how you can't order alcohol beverages with takeout. Maybe that as well.
Oh yeah, probably.
Maybe that is included, and you know.
Probably.
I'm thinking because, like, really, if it's wrapped right, you know, you can go ahead and.
To be honest with you, it's probably already sealed or whatever the case may be.
I'm just saying. I live in Philadelphia, so we can take our cocktails to go. I can go up to Clock's Bar, get me a seafood platter, and then get that colorful smoothie cocktail to go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did that in I took alcohol to go Boston. Yeah, you can easily do that in Boston.
Like with no problem.
Yeah, right.
They got the outside window when it's late, and you just come up to the window and pay and take yours. So but I can't order from a restaurant and take it out.
Right.
I can't go to Applebee's and let me get this and then let me get them $2 martinis on Wednesday. Oh, they will be killing it if that's the case. Applebee's, you about to be screwed in Georgia. Okay. New tax credit for kids. I think 5 and under is $250. Up to 50% credit for qualified childcare.
Oh, 50% credit? That's beautiful.
But it says under 5. Now, new tax credit. This has to be broken down. Okay?
Well, no. Well, hold on. Can you read the beginning of it for me again? I think 5 and under is $250, up to 50% credit for qualified. I mean, basically basically 50% off for any. I was like for any licensed childcare daycare place, which is a lot of them anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just like that means is like, and think 5 and under is $250.
Like extra
Huh?
or just.
Well, I think it might depend. It might whatever it is. I need more like.
And child tax credit is not just for like childcare. It's like if you have a dependent. So that's what I'm saying. So are they only counting 5 and under?
I think for childcare, because really and truthfully in Georgia, that's actually the biggest problem with women, single mothers especially in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Not being able to afford childcare for their children 5 and under.
Now, question. If that's the case, then that means 6 and older can watch themselves?
Huh? I don't think 6 and older can, but usually 6 and older, you have to think about it. They're usually in elementary school.
Okay.
And there's also...
That's only till 3.
Well, no.
Most jobs are 9 to 5.
Huh? Well, it depends. However, there's after-school programs. There's also there's also like other things. It's like there's other things with a 6-year-old versus a child 5 and under. Not to mention with like the timing and times that with 5 and under, how you pick them up. You pick them up early.
You gotta pick them up at 12.
Yeah,
they don't
so,
stay in all day.
Not all day. Either they're 8 to 12 or they're 12 to 4. Whatever how it works for your schedule. But with 6 and over, it's pretty easy to get. It was just like if you're a parent that can't pick up your child until 5. Mm-hmm. It's pretty easy to put your kid into something if they're over 6.
Yeah.
There's a program. There's something that they can go to until safe place. Obviously.
Free programs, right?
Huh? Well, I mean, depending on with the school. I'm just saying whatever program it is. Like I don't care what it is as long as the child is safe.
Yeah.
So it's just like
No, I care because that's a money aspect.
No, I get
programs also cost.
No,
so yeah, that
programs
and me
also
who have
cost.
had a child, I back then I was paying $190 a week for kinder care for Justice, and that was back then, and that was a week. So I know how costly it can be.
It's a lot.
It's a lot,
no,
and then
it's
that
a lot
was
more.
back then. I can imagine now.
50% is that is helpful as fuck. Half is helpful as fuck. Mm-hmm. And the thing about it is,
I agree.
And the thing about it is, we don't know what between. It's like we have to think about it. They were talking about this in Congress, Senate, in Georgia, and they were sitting there fighting back and forth. Maybe they wanted to do it for kids 10 and under.
Yeah.
But maybe they were just like no, because of the simple fact, the pushback on that argument is the fact that kids 6 and over already have programs they can go to even after school, because there are after school programs.
Yeah.
Not saying that there isn't, but it's just
No,
like it does.
I get it.
Yeah.
Well, we're basically explaining the law, and what I'm doing is I'm trying to ask questions that you would answer if you would to get a better understanding. So, every school bus will now have cameras. He puts to catch your badass kids lying. He's hilarious.
But yes.
But I don't understand why that wasn't already implemented, but that's a great thing.
It's a good thing because actually not only does it put the kids' safety, but it also with the bus driver's safety as well.
Amen. You can also watch what them kids is doing.
Exactly. And then it's just like, and the thing about it is, with the kids knowing there's cameras, they're more than likely to act better.
Yeah.
I
agree. These kids are different. I remember the first fucking time I caught Justice in a lie, and I just looking and I said, oh my fucking God. I said, if anybody didn't know this little girl, they wouldn't even record it. I know you. But I think that should have already been implemented for everyone's safety, for the adult and the child on the bus. More in-depth background. Oh, dang. For daycares, fingerprinting, checking for registered child abusers and sex offenders.
Let me see.
Yeah, that was not a thing.
I
He
mean,
put that too.
you-
What you mean?
Well, I mean, it's 2025.
No,
Yeah.
we had that.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, we had that in Pennsylvania. You gonna do a whole fingerprint FBI background check for daycares. We can't put sex offenders and children. Even our school bus drivers, though. You heard me?
Mhm.
They do. You can't drive a school bus without having that FBI background.
Oh, well,
check.
I mean, yeah. I mean, usually yeah, you can't have those jobs. They usually check for that. And it's just like in Georgia, it's so easy.
It
was access. The access to find out if somebody is. Trust me, it's way easy in Georgia.
So
I think mainly for this is just like this is all technical, and so they can move it off of how they're doing it.
So it could be on the books, basically.
Not even on the
like
books.
legal, because it's a law.
Well, no, not even legal. It's just a simple fact. I think it's just like they're updating it. It's not as antiquated as it was before.
Okay.
Because these people it was like in Georgia, it's very easy to know who's a sex offender and who's not. They're not going to hire you. Like everybody knows.
I don't want no more. Stop me from doing that, please.
I got you. But like, yeah. The next thing was disabled vets can now apply
You
for.
gotta speak up.
I am. I'm fine. Disabled vets can now apply for 2 additional free license plates. Trust me. I know I was like, my voice.
2 additional, free license plate. That's cool. Okay.
Okay, moving on. Storage units have to notify you once.
I'm cool with anything free for vets. I mean, they literally died for you. They
Put their limbs on the line for you.
Well, we definitely did. So I agree with
What's her name? That's Senator Duckworth.
I agree with that. Like I said, I went through Desert Storm. I seen, and especially down south, I went through a lot of people that were from down south or rural areas that just basically had nowhere to go. They weren't going to college. They weren't doing this, and they went right into the military. So they basically risked their lives.
Okay.
And
Storage units have to notify you once a week for 2 weeks before auctioning off property.
Dang, they were selling people's stuff off quick. Yeah.
No, they do.
I can imagine.
They do that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
10. If you get convicted of trafficking fentanyl, they done up the price and increase the sentence. Fine. We have a fentanyl problem in the United States. I don't have a problem with that. 11. 75 extra million to schools since we're so dumb.
I don't want to stop. I do not. We definitely have a fentanyl problem. But punishing dealers, because we can't cure addicts. One thing about fentanyl, this trink, that once they start doing those drugs, that's a forever high. They can never stop doing fentanyl. You have to, just like the heroin, you have to put them on methadone.
Yeah.
They're forever addicts. We have drug addicts that are now forever addicts. And what you are doing now is putting more punishment on the dealers, but not fixing
Well, yeah. They're not.
the addiction part of it.
Well,
and
yeah.
guess what? We still got addicts.
Right.
So now we're still going to have people flipping out
Yeah.
because their body is now, it needs it to survive. These drugs are forever drugs. You can never get off.
We really need more methadone clinics.
We need more money into putting into, because what these dealers are, they're supplying them. They're giving them their fix. And you're putting more punishment on them, but not fixing the problem.
Okay.
Now, I'm not saying that's not right or wrong, but I feel like we're still weighing it on the dealers and not on the actually whole issue. And we're never going to get rid of it. And especially the way our economy is and how stressful and how our lives are. We have become dependent off of things. Doesn't matter. Drugs, food, clothes, sex, money. And what you're doing is these people, a lot of these people will never find the treatment that they need. So what are you going to do with that?
I feel like you can do both. I still feel like fentanyl is definitely a problem.
But you have to do both. You can't get rid of the drugs without cleaning up the addict.
I agree.
I'm just saying it's gonna be once again unbalanced effect, and it's gonna weigh harder on the lower class. You cannot. They go hand in hand.
They do.
They go hand in hand.
I completely
So
agree.
you can't punish the dealers, but not do anything about the addict.
No, I agree with that. And
they have to go hand in hand with this.
yes,
And that's the only reason why I said, let's go back a little bit.
No, I totally agree with that.
Like, Philadelphia with our designated drug zone. People don't like KMA. A lot of good families have worked properties and are raising their children in that area, and it's not right what they have to experience.
Right.
But you have the whole Philadelphia and surrounding areas that are not affected by addicts, what we cannot cure. And they are designated in one place where we can actually basically protect everybody else and also keep an eye on the activity. Because what we realize is we cannot get rid of the addicts. And once you disperse it, they'll be everywhere.
Yep.
And guess who's going to be in your backyard? Now, unfortunately, it's in their backyard, but it's only in there because they designated a drug zone.
No, absolutely.
And that worked well because they realized that they couldn't get rid of the drugs. So now I got to be able to control it, consume it, to try to build something around it. Also, in those areas, they're able to go ahead and give the health needs and supply the methadones and the rehabs and all that because they are all in one place. I can reach now all these people. I can make sure that they continuously get tested. Use clean needles. They're healthy. That because they're all in one area. I don't have to be looking for them all over the city because they realized they couldn't get rid of these people. So I think the best way to actually try to also help them was keeping them in one area.
I agree. Now, the thing about it...
Because you keep most of the crime over there, everything.
Yeah. I mean, fentanyl is fentanyl is definitely a problem. I remember when I moved out of Seattle, 2007.
Oh, Seattle now has a crazy problem with fentanyl. Everywhere.
Meth is their biggest thing. And so 2010 is when meth really...
Oh, that's your role.
Yeah, it's my role. No, I got it. There is in 2010, I left, and I remember I was talking to one of my good friends, and he was telling me like, man, he's like, everybody's on meth, and I'm just like, and then he was telling me that homes were getting broken into in our neighborhood. We live in a very prestigious, nice neighborhood.
Oh, who else I'm gonna break into? But somewhere where you got some good, and a lot of them probably are y'all neighbors on meth.
Possibly, but funny thing is, it wasn't. They weren't our neighbors. It wasn't our neighbors. These were people, literally, in our town, walking through drug addicts. Okay, and coming up into the neighborhood, some of our neighbors, my best friend and my grandfather was telling me that our neighbors is like their homes were getting broken into and everything just around them.
Yeah.
Pretty much, my grandparents was the only home that wasn't getting broken into.
I wonder why.
The black family, they knew. And I feel like,
somebody gonna be home.
whoever the meth head was,
they knew the area a little bit better. Like they knew I feel like they knew who.
They knew me.
Okay.
They knew me, and the thing about it is, it's just like I was very popular. I was very well known, and so I'm assuming these meth heads I went to school with.
Yeah.
I knew.
Yeah.
Maybe some of them I was even friends with.
Yeah. Well, I said that
Yeah.
you kind of were more familiar with them.
And my grandfather.
You don't. One thing I have noticed about thieves is a lot of the times they don't go to random places.
Nope.
So most of the times, you're gonna go where you're more familiar, where you know. Even thieves, when they want to rob or steal, they plan it out because they just don't pop into some random.
They know the
person.
neighborhood. They know the landscape.
Yes. Yeah.
So they knew. They're like,
Yeah.
nah. They were like, I know who lives there. Nah. They're
And the worse and worse things get, and we don't know how things are gonna go. People are going to be more prone to using drugs.
Yep.
Because that's how we cope and deal with things. That's what we do.
Yep.
So now, you're going to have people sitting there drinking bleach when you take heroin away. Do you understand the balance effect that you will have when you take these? Now they're going to go back to huffing. You're going to see huffing come back. Like things like that, because they still need to get high. You gotta fix the problem.
All the way.
The reason why. And we all know the reason why. A lot of the times we are, as Americans, we are broken in so many ways. And that's what leads us to, because the cat's out there. Bitch, I caught her the other day. What's the next one?
75 extra million to schools since we're so dumb. AKA low on the education poll. Fine.
I think that's great.
Fine. I don't have any
It
problems
should
with
have
that.
been more because we are.
Yeah.
Now, the thing about that is, he's right. We're dumb. So, how are we going to fix the curriculum?
How
We can keep giving you fun, but if we're not
Parents-
teaching you nothing.
parents have to get, to be honest with you, I'm not even gonna lie, parents have to get more, and it's just like, I'm just coming from the just from an education background. Parents have to get more involved and be more, and be more into what it is their kids are learning. It's a concerted effort.
I definitely do believe that we need to be involved in more learning, but check this out.
Yeah.
In reference to our kids. Check this out. Okay. Let's think about this here. Well, my family, I can't really relate to a lot of, I'm just trying to use what I see other people struggle because, you already know, my mom, she didn't graduate from college or whatever. She was a manager or Wonder Bread. But we kind of just are geniuses naturally.
Yeah.
But a lot, you have parents that are immigrant. You have African Americans who have not graduated from high school. You have a lot of people who are not that intelligent, who has put their children in the care of educators to teach them. Okay?
Correct.
We got to understand, everybody's not educated, everybody is not smart. That's why some people can teach. That's why I give my kid to a teacher.
Yes.
So we got to understand that. And if they don't know what to ask, if they have not got past a 5th grade education, if they are immigrant families,
It's difficult.
it is very difficult. So you still want your kid to be better. They still have a great mindset
Right.
to make sure that kid is educated.
Absolutely. I totally
So
agree
they
with
can't
that.
be more into the curriculum. That is what a teacher is for.
Yeah, no. I'm not talking.
Not only that.
It's not about the curriculum.
only
It's
that.
about what it is that what you have to
No,
know what it is your
I'm
kid
not
is
done.
learning. Okay.
Not only that, as far as homework and things to take home, if these parents don't have the education, they cannot assist these children with homework.
It's true. You're 100% right.
Money for tutors and stuff, these things need to be done in the school by educators, but we got to give them more money. Way more money to do it.
It takes money to do that.
Way more money to do it. But we do need to understand we got to give our teachers more leeway to teach these kids properly.
More money. They need more money.
Way more money.
They need more money.
And it needs to be focused into that. But to sit there and weigh it strictly on parents, because a lot of us are not educated. But that does not mean we don't care about we may not be educated and we may not have the funds to put them in proper education. But that does not mean that we don't want to see the future of our kids. To solely put it on parents.
Oh no, I'm not saying solely put it on
parents. And now,
parents.
let me get down to number 3. We live very stressful lives and we work. Majority of our lives is work and just to pay the bills and feed, and when we're not work is sleep. You gotta recognize basic American life just to be able to have a place for your child to live, to have food for your child to eat. We have to spend a lot of our time working.
Yep. And they do too.
Lower and middle class.
Yep.
So as that person, I may be educated. I still do not have the time to put into my child's education because I am so focused on making sure my child has a proper place to live and food, because you make a certain amount. I ain't getting food stamps.
Right.
Who's living in the shelter? I gotta do all these things. So what I'm doing is I am depending on where I pay my taxes for the school education system to also educate my child.
Right.
And as far as bringing this homework home, I may not be able to assist my child because when I get in, I am dead tired. And that does not make me a bad parent.
No, I don't
Y'all
think it
have
does.
to pay these people to educate our kids because we cannot do it.
They need it's not,
We cannot do it.
and the thing about it is it's more than about it's more about it's not even it's more about them getting the teachers and the educators getting the support that they need
Yes.
in order for them to sit there and do their jobs even better, because the thing about it is these teachers are putting their own money into doing
And parents, y'all need to back off. Y'all kids bad as shit.
huh
Y'all need to back off.
yeah
Y'all
some
need
of
to
them
back.
some of
They
them are
act
really bad.
different around their friends and outside of you.
Yep.
So he may be da-da-da-da, but when they get around their crowd, like some of y'all need to back off and let these teachers teach. Because since you don't want to deal with it, y'all trip about when y'all kids is home with y'all in the summer. So sis, please, some of y'all do need to back off and let them do their job. Because, think about it.
Treat them better.
Treat
them better.
Think about this. They don't make money. They don't make enough. And our kids is bad.
And the thing about
and
it
they
is,
still do it. I ain't got the tolerance. I would never. Listen, it's a bunch of fields that I know darn well I could never go into because I don't have the tolerance for people.
right.
And certain things. So understand that they are underpaid. They are severe exhausted and overworked. Now, as far as parents doing your part, y'all need to take them electronics away from them kids at night.
Well, shit. That's a whole that's a whole parenting thing. I'm talking.
Y'all need to put them computers back in the living room.
What I'm talking about.
Not in their room. Put them computers back in the living room where everybody
What
can
I'm
see.
talking about when I was talking about earlier.
And you need to
about
take them
parents,
phones away at night.
What I'm talking about with parents being more involved, I'm not talking about like not only now, because some parents are not educated enough, and I agree with that.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Mine weren't, but
My thing is this.
we were lucky. We were geniuses, and all of us went to college. But no, my mom did not ever sit and help me with homework. She work and sleep. Like what she did do was made sure that we ate. She cooked every Sunday for meals throughout the week for us. Like they made sure every morning when I got up, $5 on my dresser, so I got lunch and stuff.
And that's what it is with most of that's like what it is with most of us in our community.
Was not there, but she gave me the tools to
but they need.
provide.
But
to
these.
survive.
The thing is that the thing about it is, it's like the teachers. They're not. It's like they're not asking you to help them teach. And that's kind of, I think, where the disconnect is between teachers and parents. They're not asking you to teach.
Yeah.
Because they do that. They have the education to do that. No. That's what they're not worried about. What they're worried about is, it was just like, I want your child to succeed, and I can't do it alone.
Yeah. You got to make sure, like, you have to put more weight on this education and learning, hold them accountability. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I cannot teach a kid if when they go home, you don't care about learning.
It's hard. It's hard.
We do, but
it's difficult, and it's a difficult thing.
Child, they are going in such a bad way, and we do need to change it.
Yeah, it's bad.
One thing I know about our parents is, even though she did not help homework, she ain't play about school. You better bring home all A's. They was on you about that. We do. We as this generation has become very lax because we felt like our parents was way too strict. But becoming lax, we became our kids' friends and not their parents.
Yeah.
And now we have no authority over these kids. They don't listen because you're not an authority figure. You're my friend.
Get Herbert.
So that is the problem.
It is a problem.
That is the problem. They don't see us as authority. They see us as best friends. And we seen our parents as our parents' authority. And then as we got older, understood our parents and understood the love.
Mm-hmm.
But one thing we had was respect. We don't have respect as parents now. We lost our respect throughout the lines, getting guidance and abuse misconstrued. What was the next thing? Yeah,
I could talk about the education thing all day.
yeah, that education thing was crazy.
No, I can talk about that all
Why you going like just make me do all this? Now I gotta do all this shit.
Because it's like, for me, it like even if I was teaching right now, you know what I mean?
Ain't no baby.
I would never. I was just like, first off, no, more than likely, I would have been working in. I would have been working in one of the inner city schools here as a sub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Not getting paid very much, you know, and I would have known exactly what it is I would have been dealing with. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I probably would have got a position as a history teacher. You know what I'm saying? Whatever the case may be. And, you know, I would have to, you know, I know depending on the students that aren't doing very well, I would have to contact their parents. And the ones that aren't doing very well, I could recognize. I'm like, well, I was just like, I don't know what kind. I was like, I really don't know what kind of thing they have at home. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I don't. I was just like, you know, I don't know if they come. I was like, I don't know their backgrounds because all I have are files. You know what I'm saying? On these kids. All I have is files on the kids, and it just says paper like, okay, mother, father, not listed, or father, mother, not listed. You know what I mean? So there's just a lot of different, you know, there would be a lot of different things for me to be like, you know, as an educator, how is it that I'm going to sit here and deal with this problem that I've recognized in my expertise as an educator with this child?
Yeah.
That I want to make sure succeeds.
Yes.
I have to go talk to the parents.
Yeah.
It's difficult, and the thing about it is, as a parent, I'm not one. However, I could see how it feels if a teacher comes to you about an issue with your child, may not even be something very serious.
But everybody got to understand, everybody homes is not a conducive environment for education and learning. That's why we need to give the teachers more resources,
They need more resources.
so the child can learn that there.
I ain't gonna lie to you.
How can you, like, we're struggling, like,
K
there are a lot of
K
poor
through
individuals.
12 teachers, in my opinion,
Yeah.
they should be paid $80,000 a year
Right.
minimum.
But it's also got to be put more into the education system programs and things for these kids. Because
Yes.
once again, like
But
I
but if
said,
the teachers were paid
everybody's
better-
household is not
If the
conducive for a
teachers have
learning
if
environment.
the teachers have their pay better,
Yeah.
and if they have the resources there for them,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm saying? They get asked to do a lot.
Yeah.
They do.
They do.
That's why teachers have left the profession, because
I know.
they can't take it anymore, because it's like, I'm struggling. They're like, I'm struggling.
Yeah. So, funeral homes can now dispose of bodies organically. Y'all can read more into that. So,
Organically, like how?
well,
What is
first
that?
of all, cremation, you know, when they cremate people and it goes into the smoker, it goes into the air and the environment.
It
So
does.
I at least know that. So maybe they want to do it a little bit more safer, but they're not allowed to. I don't know. You want to look it up? Hey, let's go.
I don't want to actually. That was just like.
But I'm just thinking, like,
Yeah.
them using the, it's probably a lot of pollution involved. They want to have more clean, safe space. I don't know, but it's a law, and it sounds more clean.
Well, they can do like they did Michael Myers in Halloween Kills. Just throw him in the grinder.
You know what?
Sorry, I mean
Some people feel like that's inhumane and won't allow you to throw their loved one in a grinder.
throw me in the grinder.
I do want to be burnt to ashes, not in a grinder, because I would like you
Either
to.
or,
I would like you to-
I wouldn't know.
I would like you to
I
take
wouldn't
me
know.
and dump me into the. Well, some people don't want to be thrown in a grinder, so
You ain't gonna feel it. Like I'm dead.
some people don't, because clearly, I would grind all people instead of burying them in the ground and just letting them die in a box. Some people don't like that.
What's her name? Carol Baskin. Carol Baskin.
Yo. Okay. Income tax lowered to 4.99%.
That's great. 4.99 is good. Anyway, let's move on.
Child cannot be expelled from a public school for having excessive absentees.
I agree.
Follow-up counseling and family safety plan in place and converse with parents. I agree.
100%.
You penalize and you don't even know the reason. But anyway.
Right.
Okay, if your landlord lives out of the state, there must be property manager in state to address landlord-related communications. I agree. If I got a problem going on
It's a
here,
huge problem.
yes,
Huge
because a
problem.
bunch of people have
They live somewhere else.
yes, they have property and they can afford the land and they rent it out and they live somewhere else, like a lot of New Yorkers. New Yorkers do that a lot.
My aunt and uncle, my aunt and uncle in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
My uncle, he owns he and her they own
There's
properties. What?
He rolling, but yeah.
Yeah, but either they own properties. They own living properties over in Alabama.
Yeah.
They have a bunch of them, and so it's just like I was just like, and they live out of state.
Uh-huh.
Now, granted, it's in Alabama. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now it's probably different in Bama. See?
But still.
See her?
Yeah. Well, leave her alone. Mind your business.
No, fuck her. She
Like,
doing too
mind your business.
much. No, I wasn't
Okay.
minding my business. That's why I said something.
Like, worrying about my kid and her Speedy Gonzalez ass.
She be doing the most.
Okay, K through 8th grade must keep cell phones stored away during school hours. No social media on school computers. We discussed this about how
I agree with that.
Yeah.
To be honest with you,
I-
it doesn't even need to be stored away. Really and truthfully, if you like, to be honest with you, I'm an educator. Therefore,
they shouldn't have cell phones.
no. If they have cell phones, I don't care.
Yeah.
My thing is, when you come in for your periods class, there's going to be a whole wall of pockets. Cell phones go in the pockets, bruh.
No, I agree with that. And remember, I said I think that, and we do need cell phones for communication with our kids nowadays.
Yep.
But I do also believe at night we should start taking them, and I do feel like we should move their computers to a family safe space.
Something.
And not just privately in their room.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely,
Anymore.
absolutely. It's difficult because of the simple fact we have, we have these things.
Even if you as a parent, you're asleep or whatever, if it's in a open room, Okay, so 2,000 raised to teachers, 6,000 raised to law enforcement. Public,
No.
it's already a law.
No. I'm saying no. It should actually.
It should have been 6,000
for the
2,000.
teachers.
Yeah.
2,000 for their asses.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah. No. That they don't deserve more money.
No.
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 You don't deserve more money than the teachers.
I agree.
You must be crazy.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Then when I heard that, I said, huh? You saw me stop. I said, no.
Yeah, that's why I was like, hold up. When you were saying no, I wasn't saying like no. I'm like, just let me read the whole question.
Nah, and I said, no, I heard the numbers. That's all I needed to hear. I'm like, no. 2,000 the teachers ain't gonna do shit. They already do much. It's not.
It's not. Okay. 2,000 raised to teachers,
Bullshit.
6,000 raised to law enforcement.
Even more bullshit.
Public school nurses, nutrition workers, and bus drivers, 5.1% raise.
Fine with me.
Except for the 6,000 to teachers, 2,000 for law enforcement. I agree.
I'll be honest with you. They can take that 1,000. They can take half of the 2,000 that they want to give law enforcement. That I feel like they should be getting anyway.
Yeah.
They should be $1,000 raise. And the fact of the matter is, it's just like you can go ahead and added that more to the school nurses and everything else.
Yeah.
You could have put that money there.
Yeah. So Hope Scholarship will now pay 100% tuition. Well, I don't understand why we got tuition, but that's a great thing.
Yeah, this is probably what we talk about with private schools and everything. 'Cause
Yeah.
there are a lot of private schools.
No, I agree. But like I said, I don't understand why we got tuition. But I agree to that. Homeowners, 500 property tax rebate. $500 property tax rebate. That's great.
Wait, what is it? Say it again.
Homeowners, 500 property tax rebates. Because we pay property tax every year. Every year. Sometimes, depending on the area you're living with, if you have new construction, your property tax will go up.
Yeah, sure.
So,
I lived in Washington State. The property taxes in Washington State are...
yo, look at 21. Minors can sell things like lemonade without a permit or occurring taxes.
So anybody, so pretty much anyone under the age of 18 that's not working.
Yeah. No social media under 16 without parents' approval.
Sounds good. Anyway,
Great.
moving on.
Listen, I'm about to
Moving
move to
on.
Georgia.
Moving on.
School systems should not have a school bus stop requiring children to cross a road of 400 miles per hour or more.
Wait, what? Let me see that again.
Yeah, they clearly had them crossing.
Wait, what? Or 40 miles per hour or
Yeah.
more.
Oh, I said 400.
Yeah, you said 400. I was like,
Oh, guys, I'm a little tipsy.
yeah, I was like 400 miles. I was like, hold up,
It's
what?
40. And it's a little tipsy. That means because like it's small text and I can barely see it. So yeah, 40.
Got you. Make it bigger. Oh, you can't make it bigger. Too bad.
Exactly.
It's fucked up. You saw me like, damn.
Exactly. So I'm like, oh. So the blur between the zeros made it 2.
Right. Word. I was like, oh, like 400. That's what the fuck?
Yeah.
When he said 400, I was like, who's driving 40 miles an hour? That person's dead.
I should have stopped myself, but anyway, I'm just felony offense for grooming a minor and
Yeah.
new penalties
Yeah.
for offensive related child sex abuse
Yeah.
material.
Yep. Anyway, move on. Yep. You do anything?
Listen.
You over 18 doing anything with a minor? Go to hell.
I feel like if you take advantage of if a minor, I feel like we all know how I feel about that.
Hang them.
Yes,
I'm with the hanging.
I am too.
I'm with hanging. I
am too.
And I'm black, and I say hanging.
I am too. Firing squad it is. Straight to it. That's the only thing. I won't even do a firing squad for murder. I'll do life in prison or whatever. But when you take advantage of a minor,
You should be killed.
amen. When you take advantage of anyone, but especially an impressionable mind like a minor, someone who just needs to find their way in the world and get to know how things go, and you manipulate it in that way, firing squad there is. So yes. And then for you to sexually abuse them or sit there and violate them by taking pictures of them in vulnerable positions. Children. And I mean children. Anyone that is 17 and under. 17 and under. Because all of those are minds that can be brainwashed and manipulated. 17 and under. And I stick with that. I don't care what anybody says. 16, 17 is not mature enough to make those type of decisions. Especially not our kids, child. Have you seen our kids? We wasn't.
Like that.
And we are way more mature than them. So don't go there. I strongly agree with that. So, what's the next one? Hold on.
Might not do it back.
Yeah, I gotta run it back. I copied it, but like 20 times by accident, but I ain't gonna paste that thing nowhere. Where we was. You can use a digital copy of your license, not required to have a physical license. Front and back picture is fine.
No, that actually makes a lot of sense because there's so many problems and there's so
Like having your ID and carrying it with you, and sometimes you forget it.
Sometimes you forget it.
Or, yeah.
Now, personally, me, I ain't gonna lie to you. I've always been taught from a very, very young age to always have your identification on you. That's me. Only me.
I'm gonna be real low.
I understand about people forgetting, whatever the case.
No,
may be.
I'm gonna.
I'm just not. As like me, I can't do it.
I'm an ad hoc to his, and because this is the Looney Show, I'm gonna be completely honest. I was told because I am an African American to make sure you have your identification on with you at every time.
Pretty much. That's what I was
And it's
taught.
because I was black.
Yep. My grandparents used to be
Now,
my grandparents.
I agree with this because, unfortunately, that is not a good type of thinking, the correct thinking to have. I should not have been discriminated based off of my color to make sure that I carry these things when you were able to frivolously be free with no worries.
No worries.
So I would like the same freedoms as you.
Right.
If I have not committed any crimes and I abide by society rules.
And the thing about it is, it's just like, even with most cops today in 2025, if you don't have your ID,
They can pull up your name because everything is computerized and
Not only, but even if you have a picture, if you're going to take a picture of your ID, make sure you have both the back and front done.
Yeah.
Because-
well, that's what it says. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're gonna have a pic, you have to have two pictures, one of the front, one of the back. Because what they can do is they can take the back of the photo and scan that shit.
One thing I'm gonna say is, in Georgia, they can pull you up, and they got everybody.
Oh yeah,
In Georgia.
Oh, Georgia, they
But-
get you. I'm sorry, they get you. in
Listen,
Georgia.
they pull you over to make sure they got a picture for you in the system because ain't nobody going unwatched and unchecked. So no, so I agree.
It's gonna cause. It's like it's gonna bring down. It brings. It's
Oh.